I got myself a ring light so I could be a real content creator. And now it like shows in my glasses, like you can see it in my glasses. And I hate when I see that in other people's videos. And now it's in my video and it's like inevitable. But I need my glasses so I can read. So yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna have to just put on my contacts going forward so that we don't get this little reflection of the ring light in there or something. I don't know what to do. But anyway, we are on day 34, which is Exodus 13 through 15. And a reminder that you can get the daily reading companion so that you can keep up with the reading and keep track of where we are and what's to come and where what we've read so far and things of that nature. And the link will be somewhere in the comments for the daily reading companion. In Exodus 13, God tells Moses basically that the firstborn offspring slash son needs to be consecrated to the Lord as an appreciation for him bringing them out of Egypt. God took them the long way around the Red Sea because he knew if they were to go through Philistine, there'd be a war. Apparently, Philistine is known to be a fighting people, and they had the latest war technology, which is tools made out of iron. Because I was like, why the Philistines? Why they scared to go through there? Or whatever. But it also said, biblical scholars said that it wasn't necessarily fear. It was just that God knew that they weren't ready to face war so soon. And it would cause them to want to go back to where he brought them out of, which is Egypt. Also, I thought it was, a little funny that they took Joseph Bones. They took Joseph Bones up out of there. Back when Joseph had died, he said, bury me here. But when my people leave, take me back. Take me back home. And they really did that. They took up his bones. But, so far, I haven't gotten to where they bury him. I assume once they get to the promised land, that's when they'll bury him. I don't know, but they got the man bones, so they got to bury him somewhere. So, okay, so they're out in the wilderness now. They are out of Egypt. And then it says that God leads them by a pillar of a cloud in the daytime and a pillar of fire at night. So, no matter day or night, they are able to travel, and God is leading the way. And I thought briefly about like the North Star. We're in Black History Month. I'm teaching the kids about all things Black history. And we talked about the North Star and how, during the Underground Railroad, the North Star was used to help guide the slaves to freedom land. And when I was reading about the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire, that kind of made me think of the North Star a little bit. So then we move on to chapter 14, and God tells Moses where to camp out at. And he's like, I want you to camp out here because I want Pharaoh to think that you guys are lost and confused, and I'm going to harden his heart. And it says that Pharaoh then was like, oh my God, I can't believe we let them go. Like, they were doing so much for us. Like, we got to go get them and bring them back. And then here I briefly paused because initially it was supposed to be a 3-day thing where they go sacrifice to God or make sacrifices to God, and then they were coming back. I don't know when it changed to them not coming back. Maybe somebody can point that out to me or what's going on, because why he chasing them if they gonna come back in 3 days anyway. And I also know that they end up being there for 40 years, like in the wilderness for 40 years. But when I was Googling what that was about, it was biblical scholars were saying that the 40 years was because they needed like the older generation to die off who didn't really believe in God or something like that. I presume I'll get to more into that later. But yeah, it didn't mention them going back at all. But I know Moses said that, they were going into the wilderness for 3 days to make sacrifices unto the Lord and they'll be back. Right? I don't know. Somebody put in the comments and explain this to me because I'm really baffled by this. But anyway, God hardened Pharaoh's heart. He's coming for them. He's coming look for the people that he let go. So the Pharaoh comes with 600 chariots and more, chasing them down like we finna get them. So the Israelites looking like, what's going on? They scared and worried. Like, why'd you bring us out here if they was only gonna take us back? And Moses is trying to calm the people, and he says a quote that a lot of people use, which is, the Lord will fight for you. You need only be still. And that's Exodus 14:14. And God tells Moses, split the Red Sea. And so he's like, what? And, God, then I told you before in chapter 13, it says that God was a pillar on the cloud during the day and a pillar of fire at night. So, and the angel of God and the pillar of the cloud moved from in front of the crowd or the Israelites to the back of the Israelites. So essentially they're in between the armies, the Egyptians and the Israelites, going through. And then the scripture goes into saying that God looked down from the pillar of fire. So I'm like, oh, so now it's nighttime. But then it said in cloud. So then I was like, is it daytime or nighttime? I wasn't sure. But anyway, he threw the Egyptians into confusion in that he like made the chariot wheel jam so that they would have difficulty traveling. And then the Egyptians realized like, oh, God is fighting against us for them. And then God told Moses, stretch out your hand over the sea so the water can flow back over the Egyptians. And it says not one of them survived. So all of the Egyptians that was in that water chasing after them died. I presume the horses died too because they were on horses. So if the people died, I presume the horses died too. And so then from there, they feared the Lord. The Egyptians feared the Lord. I mean, not the Egyptians. The Israelites feared the Lord and put their trust in the Lord and in Moses, his servant. And then in Exodus 15, they created a song for God. And I'm just trying to figure out why ain't nobody ever put this song to a beat or something so we could get a inkling of how the song goes. Like, nobody thought to put a beat to this song. That came to my mind, but I'm not instrumental or musically inclined at all. But it would be nice if somebody created a beat and put these lyrics to that beat. And then it says that Miriam, who is a prophet, and she's a woman, and I didn't even know that women could be prophets and preachers and all this stuff back then because, in modern day, they have some pastors have issues with women preaching. But anyway, Miriam is the sister of Aaron, who also the sister of Moses, because remember Moses had a sister and his brother is Aaron. And so this sister is the sister that kind of spotted him coming down the river, gave him to the Pharaoh's daughter, right? Pharaoh's daughter, and then the mom ended up breastfeeding Moses and get paid to breastfeed her son. So this is her. And she, plays a timbrel, and she started singing the song. So a timbrel is like a ancient tambourine. I had to look that up. And then anyway, going on in section 15, in chapter 15 some more, they had 3 days of no water, and after throwing a piece of wood into the water, it became fit to drink. So where they were, the water was sour or something, and he threw the wood in there and it became fit to drink. And the Lord let them know if they follow his commandments, keep his decrees, he won't bring them any of the diseases that he brought the Egyptians. And that's where we leave off for day 34, chapters, 13 through 15. So until next time, I'll see you next time.